Hi guys, welcome to the very first episode of Into the Wings podcast, your musical theatre podcast exploring the on and off stage lives of your favourite musical theatre performers and creatives. We're here at the Theatre Cafe Diner and I'm your host, Matt. So without further ado, let's get right into the first episode. I've got an amazing guest with me this week. I'm joined by the fantastic Paige Blankson, who is currently alternate Christine on the West End in the Phantom of the Opera.
Hi.
Hello, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
How are you feeling?
I'm great.
Yeah?
I'm fantastic.
Yeah, you've got a busy day today. You've got a show this evening, right?
Yes, I'm sure this
So
evening.
thank you so much for giving up the
Of
time to come on.
course.
I really appreciate it. Let's just get straight
Let's
into
go.
it. So Elle and I, Elle, my producer, came to see you in Phantom. It was amazing.
Thank you.
We
You
were
came
so
on
proud.
my first night.
Yeah, on the
You
debut,
did.
snapped some curtain call photos
You
as well.
did.
It was really good. It was
Thank
really
you
good.
very
I was
much.
very surprised about the amount of fans that you already had at the stage door.
Oh, no.
Crazy. It was cool. You were like a celebrity. I was like,
Okay.
Paige is a celebrity.
Absolutely not. Okay. Definitely not.
So for the few viewers that have not heard of the Phantom of the Opera
Yes.
and your character,
Yes.
would you mind just giving a quick overview as to a very brief plot, obviously no spoilers, and also your role?
Okay, so I am currently the alternate Christine in Phantom. Phantom in itself is like a high fantasy romance. If you don't know, it's basically about spoilers. It's basically about a ghost who haunts an opera house, and he takes a liking to this young dancer who then becomes the like lead singer at the principal soprano at the opera house. And it's basically about his love for her and her journey into womanhood, I shall say. Yeah.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've practiced that. That was cool. I wanted to talk to you about the audition process for the role. So what was the audition process like? How did you hear about the role?
Yeah, so my first job before this was Les Mis. And whilst Les Mis was like wrapping up, kind of just caught wind. I was like, someone was just like, there's a space like opening up for a Christine. Like, I think you should message your agent. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. So I messaged my agent and was like, I really want to be seen for this. Can you put me in? He was like, I've already done it. And I was like, okay, cool.
Oh my gosh.
So I think like the week later, I did a tape because I was on tour, so I couldn't go in. So we did a tape. And then so I sang a few songs on the tape. Didn't hear back for like 2 weeks. Lovely. I was like, okay, I haven't got that. It's fine. Let me just put that dream to bed. Then I got called in for an audition, sang 3 songs, did another audition, sang the same songs, and then was asked to come to a final. Did a final at Her Majesty's, which was really cool because it's the first time I've sang on like a theatre stage at an audition before, but it's the first time like they put the mic on me, and I was like, oh my god, this is a lot. So I did that in front of like all the producers and stuff, and then I was then asked to meet Andrew Lloyd Webber and sing some of the songs for him. So I did that, and then I think the day later I called my agent because I was like, Mark, I am gonna cry. I need to know. I just need to know. I can't function. So I called him. He was like, oh yeah, you got alternate. And I was like, could you not have rung me? I was out for dinner with my friend and I just couldn't eat. And I was like, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna have to call my agent. Otherwise, I know we're not gonna enjoy this lunch dinner. So I called him. He was like, oh yeah, everyone in the office is so happy. And I'm like, fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah. But bless him. So yeah, and then I got the alternate role, and then finished up Les Mis, and then had a week off Les Mis, and then started my rehearsals, and now we're here.
Yeah. Had you met Andrew Lloyd Webber before, or was that the first time?
The first time I've only met him once.
Okay.
So the first time I met him, the only time I met him was in my audition for it. Yeah.
Was that scary?
Do you know what? That whole process was so quick that there was no time to think about what was happening.
Yeah.
And it was one of those that if you stopped to think, you would get overwhelmed. So because I was still touring and I was still traveling back to do the shows, I remember of course it would happen, but like I was touring from like the furthest place away from London. I think I was in Sunderland, and it's like a 4-hour journey one way. And I just remember being like, of course they want to see me when I'm in Sunderland.
Yeah.
So I remember like taking like 4-hour journeys there and back, and then having to do the show. So I was just really knackered. And I remember I was literally on silence. Like I would do the shows, but like in the wings, I was just not talking because I was like, there's no way my voice is going to be able to hack all of the things I'm doing. But yeah, it was a lot, and it was just one of those, you kind of just had to keep going, because if you stopped, you'd be like, oh my god, this is happening, and so yeah, I didn't really think about it. I don't think I've actually processed it, because my rehearsal process was also very, very quick. So I've just kind of been go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So long story short, it wasn't scary, because I was just like, I'm just gonna have to pretend that he's just a man and I'm singing to him. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. What you mentioned the rehearsal process.
Yes.
What was the time period for the rehearsal process?
Typically, what I've heard is that Christine's get like about 6 weeks. I had 3. So I remember on my first day, I was at, I think, Pineapple or Dance Attic, did some ballet with the ballet girls. And then the day after, no, like the afternoon after that, they were like, okay, I'm from the top. And we had like all the cast on stage with everything except for like the moving elephant. And I was like, oh my God, I'm literally singing Think of Me in front of people that I literally met 2 minutes ago. This is just all a lot. But that's kind of what happens when you're put into a show, because everybody else knows it, right? So it is just you. So yeah, that was a lot. And just generally, like, just the pickup time of just having to learn stuff was just a lot. And I remember on my first day, it was very much like, I would be like to my dressers, what's next? And they'd just chuck me in a costume and be like, it's this scene, next, go. And I just
visual on stage.
Yeah, and I'd just be like, okay, I know what to do in this scene, so I'm just going to do it and take one scene at a time. Yeah. But yeah, it's all good now. Like, I feel chill about it. But at the start, I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure from your point of view, you feel like the first one didn't go as well as you wanted to, but from the other side, you could not tell at all. It just,
to be honest, I was
seamless.
really happy with it, because the only goal I had for the first one was just to be in it and just enjoy it.
Get through.
Yeah, like just enjoy and just do what you need to do. And that's all that I could kind of ask of myself. I couldn't pretend or try and make it into like a perfect thing, because it was never going to be that. But yeah, it was really, really special.
Yeah. It was really cool. It was really cool to watch you. It was special to watch you. And I'm sure.
I didn't even know you were coming.
I know. We just booked it.
I know.
I'm not sure how. It was quick. It was like, it wasn't that long before. Maybe a week or two before. So it was really.
Okay. And then you just didn't tell me.
No. I think I just forgot to say. I just forgot to message.
Yeah.
As an alternate, Christine, what is your schedule like in comparison to a full time?
Yes. Cool. Okay. So, currently I'm scheduled 2 shows a week. So the principal, Christine, will play 6 and I will play 2. And then the rest of my week is just being on standby. So my days of being on are Tuesdays and Fridays. However, if the principal is ill or on holiday or just has another commitment, I'm the first port of call. So today's Thursday and I'm on today. And I guess the hardest thing about being alternate is the low level anxiety of like, am I on today? And like never quite being able to relax, because you just don't know what's going to happen. And that was quite hard at the beginning, because I was like, I'm going to be thrown on to this thing. But now, because I know what I'm doing, it's just a lot easier to just like, okay, I'm on. Okay, I'm just going to go to the theatre and do the show. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. What's the most last minute call you've had?
It was in my first week. And I was going to watch my friend in King and I, and I got to the theatre and I was just about to give them my ticket, and I saw a call from my company manager, and I was like, I know what this is. And I picked it up and he was like, oh, you're on tonight. And I was like, fantastic. So literally just had to like turn around and like get back to the theatre. That was, I think, the most scary, because that was my first time being called on, and it was also in my first week. So I was a bit like, oh my God, there's so much going on. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
Was that, you were saying the matinee, not the evening? Right?
It was the evening.
So what time was that?
I watched the matinee of King and I.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you got, I was like, they didn't call you at like
no.
6:30 p.m.
So yeah, there's a cut-off. So like, if if it's not an emergency, they have to call me by, I think, 3:30 on an evening. If it's an emergency, that's different, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also not, I don't have to be in the theatre. So, yeah, so there does need to be a bit of buffer time so I can actually get there. Yeah. Otherwise, one of the understudies will do it for me.
Yeah. It must be quite tricky to make plans.
Yes.
Because
it's quite, it is very difficult. Like, because I think you get into this thing of like, oh, I only have 2 shows a week. And then you start making plans. And then because you've made all the plans, the universe just is like, no, you're on all week. And it's like, oh, fantastic. I'm cancelling all my plans. Yeah.
But it's nice to get called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the show. I love doing it. So, yeah, especially now that I'm actually like comfortable. Because it is a marathon, right? Like, now it's not, it doesn't feel like an unachievable mountain of songs. Now it's just like, okay, let's just do act 1 and do act 2 and go home kind of thing. Yeah. Whereas before I was like, oh my God, how am I getting to the end of act 1? Yeah.
And it's quite an iconic role in terms of musical theatre. How much during the rehearsal process and also during your shows, how much leeway do they give you with choices you can make? Obviously the songs will have to sound pretty much the same, but in terms of, well, it's just closed on Broadway, but on the Broadway one and then other places that it's on, are they all pretty?
They're all pretty much the same. I've never felt like I've been told to be a certain way. Okay. If anything, I've been told to bring more of me into the show, which is helpful for me. In both my jobs that I've had, for long-running shows, I actually think they're quite good at being a little bit flexible. Of course, there are like marks that you have to hit, but that's just typical of like a long-running show. But in terms of like interpretation, there's, I feel, quite a lot of leeway, and we do like have discussions about it. So if I get a note from my director and he'll be like, oh, I feel like you're playing this and it's not like serving the story, I can be like, oh, well, actually, I was playing this kind of beat and we can have a chat about it.
Okay, that's cool.
So it is a lot more collaborative than I thought it was going to be. Yeah. Especially now that I'm comfortable. Before it was just like, okay, learn your lines and like, don't mess up. Yeah. But now it's like, okay, now I can like actually say, I don't think I want to do that on this line kind of thing. Yeah.
How long have you been alternate Christine now?
3 months.
Okay.
3 months. I'm still relatively new. 4 months maybe, but I feel a lot more settled. Yeah.
Does it feel every show, because obviously once you've been doing it for a while, I'm sure you felt this with Les Mis, it's quite difficult to keep it fresh every time.
Not for this. Okay. I just feel like there's so much material that you're never going to have a perfect show. Like there's so much that there's so many moving parts. Like, so even if like you get to a point where your interpretation is really solid and you know who she is and all that stuff, you've got 5,000 props you have to figure out how to use, and you've got a negligee that gets caught on something every other night that you have to try and navigate. So it's for me, and even with Cosette, to be honest, I didn't really get bored because I just felt like there was a lot still to find. Yeah. Maybe towards the end of Les Mis, I was a bit like, okay. Because it's a long contract, right? But I don't think with Christine, you know, people do Christine for years and years and years and years, and there's a reason. It's because there's so much to get, like technically, vocally, physically, from an actor's point of view, and then all just like the logistics of it, like, and the managing all the things you've got to manage as well. So I don't think I'm not bored. That's good. Yeah.
How does it compare? Because obviously as Cosette, you're in, I don't know the percentage, but it's a small percentage.
You came to see me, yeah.
Yeah, I came to see you in that as well. Again, very
what
good.
A lovely friend.
But yeah, how does it compare? Because I mean, Christine basically doesn't go off stage.
No.
And Cosette basically doesn't come on stage.
So I remember when I booked Christine and my agent was like, you know, just like, it's not going to be like Cosette. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. And when I did my first run through of Christine, I was like, oh my God, this is not a joke. Cosette it's one of those things. You can't really do a Christine if you're not feeling like a good 65%, right? Okay. Whereas like if you're feeling like run down. You can whip out a Cosette, right? She's on for 45 minutes. You can have a little nap in the 45 minutes. She's on for 42 minutes altogether.
More than I thought, honestly.
So she's on for like 29 minutes in the first act and like 18 in the second.
Okay.
And she has a lovely 42-minute break. I timed it. And like, if you're not feeling well, you can kind of just, have a little lie down, get yourself, and then like wake up, warm your voice back up, and then go and sing that high C. Whereas Christine, it's just like, there's just no stopping. Like you have one 15-minute break, and in that 15-minute break, you're going to the toilet, changing a wig, drinking water, and then you're back on. So it's completely different kettle of fish. And also like the things you're doing are just a lot more taxing anyway, right? You're being thrown around, you're singing in the rafters of your voice, you're singing in all different functions. So it's just a different kettle of fish. Like it's completely different. And I get it, like a lot of people will like put them both in the same category, but they're not the same. They have similar vocal types, but like they're not the same at all. No.
Yeah.
I've learned that the hard way.
You performed at the Olivier Awards.
I did indeed.
You've performed there twice, am I right? You performed there with Arts?
Olivier's in 2018 and 19 with Arts Ed, and then I did it with Phantom.
Yeah. So how is performing at the Olivier's? Because that's a really prestigious thing.
I remember the first time I walked on that stage in 2018, I thought I was going to have a panic attack. I thought I was literally going to keel over and die. Like I was shaking so much because obviously like this is what you watch like when you're a kid. And I was at the Royal Albert Hall and I was literally like singing the like in memoriam, and I was like, please don't make a scene, please don't like die. And then and then the second time I sang the national anthem, I think. With Beverly Knight, and then and then obviously in this one I just did the opening number with as Christine, which was cool. And it was, to be honest, it's quite cool just seeing like all the other shows. It was really quite cool because we'd been rehearsing together and we hadn't seen anyone in costume, and then suddenly we got to the Royal Albert Hall and everyone was in costume, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. Yeah.
Did you get to choose which Christine costume you wore, or did they tell you?
No, oh my god, I was begging. So I have 2 wigs in the show, and the wig designer and the Seth, our director, the American director, was down. He was like, we're going to do the updo, and I was like, no, I don't want the updo. I want my long hair, because I just feel like it's like, I just like my long wig. Yeah. And so there was a campaign for the long wig, and we eventually won. Thanks to Stefan. I love Stefan. He's the wig designer. But I was like, Stefan, please. I just want the long wig. Just let me have the long wig. And I got the long wig.
Pulled out of the bag.
Yeah, it was a 2-week struggle. And I'm pleased to say we won. We won the fight. Yeah. Very funny.
How many rehearsals did you have for the Olivier's?
3. I mean, we kind of just learnt the song. Yeah. And then walked in and was told like where to stand. Yeah. And then got in at the Olivier's and just did it. Yeah.
And then did you get to come back around and watch the awards?
Yes. I think so. I can't actually remember. I definitely watched Sylvia. So yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. And you were sharing a dressing room with
so many other people. Really? Like it was all because obviously like this is the first time they've done an opening number, and there were so many shows, and with so many shows comes so many costumes, so many wigs, so it was rammed. Yeah. But it was really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you know if you're going to be at West End Live? Is Phantom at West End Live this year?
Can I say this? I'll say it, and then if I can't say it, I will. So I am at West End Live this year. Exciting stuff. I'll be singing one song. And yeah, it should be fun. It'll be my first West End Live.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Very exciting in a month.
Wow. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's on like the 18th, I think.
I think Phantom's on the 17th.
Okay.
Don't kill me. I don't know if I'm right to say.
Well, I'll definitely be there watching. That'll be wicked. Hopefully we'll be there Into the Wings. That'll be cool.
Fabulous stuff.
I'll let you sip your tea first.
Sorry. What, is that tea gonna be spilt right now?
A little bit.
Oh god, here we go.
Have you had any like awkward moments / like mess ups on stage where you're literally standing there like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
So many. I know for a fact that I've fumbled words in Phantom, especially when I was new. And you know when and also we love the fans. But they'll like come to stage and they'll be like, oh my God, like there were new words today. And you'll just be like, yeah.
Yeah, there were. We changed it
There
up.
were new words today. There was one time in Les Mis, I have like Cosette's entrance, she has like a hat that she wears. And for some reason, it just wasn't pinned on right. So I went and like kneeled down on the floor with my dad, like I always do. And then the hat just fell. And it was just in front of my face. And Dean Chisnell was just laughing at me the whole way through One Day More, and it was just so embarrassing. I couldn't move it. So I literally was just covering my face the whole time.
That's funny.
I've had so many funnies, and I'm such a laugher that I have to really work hard not to laugh.
Let's move on to your introduction to musical theatre, performing, acting, dance, everything. Can you remember the first show you ever saw? Can you remember the first time thinking, do you know what, that's really what I want to do?
The first show I saw was Lion King. I was quite late. Like I didn't see a show until I was like 14, but I'd already known that I wanted to do it, but I just hadn't seen a show yet. So I just went to a Saturday school, like everyone. Yeah. Went to a Saturday school. I went to Stagecoach and Tooting. And I did that from like 8 till 14. And then I went to Brit. And I studied at the Brit School for Musical Theatre for 4 years. Nice. And then just after that, just went to drama school and then booked Les Mis, and now we're here.
And now we're here. It's flown by.
It's absolutely flown by.
Did you always know that performing was what you were going to do? There was no question.
Yeah, like there has been no question. This is all I want to do. Yeah. I don't really feel like I'm good at anything else. I know I probably am, but like this is just where I feel comfortable.
Yeah, and you're amazing at this. So
thank you.
That's okay. Can you remember what first inspired you to do performing? Because you mentioned that although you didn't see anything until you were 14, you still knew.
Oh, that's a good question. I can't remember like my earliest memory, but like a really vivid memory is me listening to the Sunday in the Park with George cast recording with Bernadette Peters and Mandy Patinkin, which is my favourite musical of all time. Okay. And it was just something about that music. I was like, I need to do this. Like, and I was like really quite young, so I didn't get anything from it. Like I wasn't really understanding what was going on. I was like, wow, Sondheim. This is so good. I don't know. I've just always liked the music. Yeah. And that's kind of what initially drew me.
Yeah. Just always like singing as a kid around the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
No, that's cool. It's cool that you just knew. It's cool that there's never been a question. No. That's probably helpful in a way, because a lot of people, it's a difficult industry. You've got to have thick skin.
Yes.
At drama school. Yeah. Whilst you're performing, like you've got to just.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
So I guess it's good that you've always been driven, because it's like no matter what comes your way, this is what I'm doing. Nothing's going to sway me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not easy doing this, and you do have to have a reason why you're doing it. You do. Because there are many, many, many rejections you're going to get. And there are many, many things that happen, even in my like short career, that I've had to then go back and be like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And for me, when I do have those days and I'm like, get me out, like this is hard, I have to remember that. And it's hard because I know the significance of the spaces that I'm in, being who I am in those spaces. But it's also twofold, right? I don't want to just be that. I want to also just be Paige the actor. However, I'm very aware that being a Black woman in these spaces is important and needs to happen more. And then it's weird because it's like I'm a Black woman playing these roles, but I'm also just Paige the actor also playing the role. So it's like getting that balance and not carrying the weight of all of that on you, because at the end of the day you just have to kind of do your job. But I am also aware that there is symbolism in what I'm doing as well. It's not just me going on stage and singing for 3 hours. So that is my why. I do it because I want other people to know that they can, but I also do it because I love it. And I think that's also okay.
I think both of those are great reasons.
Thank you.
No, they are really good. It was really nice when we came to see you and Phantom, there was a little black girl in front of us.
Oh, I didn't know
and
this.
she was like, she was saying to her mum, she was talking about you, and she was literally like, it's so nice to see someone that's like me performing. And it was just a really heartwarming moment because it proves that you are inspiring people literally every single day, even though you don't hear about it.
Yeah.
So you're doing a wicked job. Good job.
Thank you.
We touched on Brit School and Arts Ed. Do you think that college at Brit set you up well for the experience of drama school?
Interesting. Brit was foundational in the sense that it taught me the craft. I didn't know what it was. I knew I liked to sing, I knew I liked to act, but I didn't know that they were going to be put together.
Yeah.
Did Brit prepare me for Arts Ed? Yes and no. It prepared me for the discipline. Like, I feel like I got a lot of my discipline from Brit. And I feel like that's because Brit were very much like, you get what you get out of it. It's, right? You could be like, you could, come in, do just the bare minimum and still leave and feel fulfilled, right? But there was also like scope to be like, no, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do all the extracurriculars. I'm going to have singing lessons. So yes, in some ways, yes, but also no, because drama school is a completely different beast.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. And especially in first year, because it's just like so much information. And yeah, so yes and no.
It is a shock, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because Brit is such a bubble.
And also it's like lovely fairy, like bare feet in the sand, like we love each other here. Mostly not, within reason, right? Like it's a school, but like it's very much like a bubble, and you meet all these people from all these different backgrounds, and you get used to like just hanging out with people who are completely different from you. And you do kind of get that at drama school, but you also do get like a similar demographic of people because they're all there doing the same thing, right? Whereas at Brit we had like the art students, the theatre students, the musical theatre, the visual arts, like the music, like we had so many different people that it was quite nice. And
I think also drama school in a way it's kind of more serious than college, because there's a lot of people that will study a discipline at college and then do something completely different.
Yeah.
Whereas drama school is expensive.
Yeah.
If you get a scholarship, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Drama school is expensive, and it's also 3 whole years. So it is, I feel like it's much more.
It's just intense. Like, it's just intense. Like, the days are longer. What's expected of you mentally, physically, emotionally is more. Like, for a lot of people, they're living away for the first time. Like, there's so many more things. And also, like, there's an end goal, right?
Yeah.
You want an agent, you want the best agent possible, and you want a good role in your showcase or shows.
Yeah.
That's the end goal. And you want to work, right? So, whereas at Brit, it was just kind of like, let's just see how it goes. Until I got to like, year 13, I was like, oh, I want to go to drama school. But before then, I was just kind of happy to just see where it
just
went.
drift along.
Yeah.
You didn't take a gap year between college and uni, did you? You went straight in.
No, and I actually regret it. I wish I'd taken a gap year.
Okay.
So I finished Brit at 18, got a full scholarship to Arts Ed. And I think that was the pressure that I was like, I don't know if I audition again, if I'll get it again. And I felt like I just had to go because it's Arts Ed, right? I just wanted to go.
Yeah.
But I wish I'd taken a year out, because a lot of my friends who maybe didn't get in the first time, or who took a gap year, are in the same position as me now and are on the West End and are killing it. So it really doesn't matter. I wish I'd just taken that time for myself to just like figure out who I was. And I think I would have had a better time at drama school if I had.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's a really interesting piece of advice, because I feel like a lot of people will pressure themselves.
Take the time, because also you get more out of drama school when you know who you are. Like, I feel like a lot of my drama school experience was just trying to fit into a box that someone wanted me to fit. And it wasn't until after drama school that I really actually started to figure out what my voice was doing, what kind of performer I wanted to be. But that's not saying that the training wasn't incredible, and it's enabled me to do the things I'm doing. However, if I'd taken that time, I think it would have taken me less time to get to where I am now.
Okay.
In terms of like being comfortable with what my voice does and all that stuff.
So how soon after drama school did you book Les Mis?
So whilst I was at college, I booked Evita. at the Barbican. So it was originally at the Regent's Park Open Air Theatre.
Yes.
Then it was supposed to transfer to the Barbican. Then COVID happened. So we kind of thought Evita was gonna happen at some point. It didn't. So I was gutted because I was like, this is my first job at a drama school and I can't even do it. I was having an existential crisis. And then when theatres started to slowly open up, I messaged my agent and I was like, can you start putting me up for like more soprano roles? Please, I promise you, I promise you I'll book it, I promise. And then the first thing that came through was Cosette, and then I booked Cosette, and I was like, yeah, baby. Yeah. I was like, when you know yourself, I just knew that like I could do it. So I was just like, please, I promise you, just like put me up for it.
That's awesome.
And I'll book it. So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Thank you.
How did you do 4 shows at Arts Ed and your final one?
I did 2 shows at Arts Ed and then my final showcase.
Okay. How do those 2 shows and the showcase compare to professional work?
Oh, okay. So they're completely different, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not in a professional. You are, because the people that are coming in are professionals, but you're still at college. You're still trying to figure it out. And you've got agent meetings and auditions and there's so much else going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and during the showcase, that was when COVID was like rearing its ugly head anyway. So we were just lucky to like finish all the shows that we had, right? And yeah, I remember theatres closing down on the last day of our showcase. And we were just like, we stood in the theatre, and I remember our principal talking to us at the time and him just being like, this is the last time you're going to stand in the Angela Weber Theatre, like, think about like the fact that you've done all your shows here, all this stuff. So yeah, we were like, oh my gosh, the last time we're going to stand here. It was literally the last time we were there until like 2 years later, but for graduation.
Yeah.
And we didn't get to do like our final like term of like solidifying our skills and stuff, but we did all the like important things, which is quite lucky because I know that people didn't even get to do their shows or their showcase. So yeah, we were quite lucky in that.
Yeah. How was it coming back after however long it was? 2 years, was it, until your graduation?
Weird. It was really, really, really weird. It was like,
yeah.
And also like, I feel like COVID, well, for me anyway, was really transformative. As like crappy as that whole situation was, it was really good for me just to like take the time that I didn't have in intensive 3-year drama school to be like, what's going on? What do I want?
Yeah.
So I came back and I just felt really different. Yeah, it was really nice seeing everyone, but it was just weird. Like, a lot had happened in those 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like a lot happened, but also life kind of just stood still.
Yeah.
So I guess, like you say, people had changed in themselves rather than going off and doing all these crazy adventures and stuff. So that must have been a really interesting experience.
It was just strange. Like, it was just like, because you saw those people in that same place 2 years ago, but then you come back and everything's different. It's just weird.
That is.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to your offstage life now.
Yeah, let's go.
So, work-life balance.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say it might be easier as alternate Christine, but actually, after speaking to you about it, it's probably actually harder because you never know.
In some ways, it's lovely. Like, I don't know who I was speaking to. Amy Manford, she's like a Christine. And we'll kind of just message each other sometimes. But she was saying like she's done alternate before, and she's saying it's the best and hardest job, right? Because you get the time to do whatever you want to do, but you kind of don't, because it's like, if you book like a holiday, you're not booking that holiday because like you're going like with your fingers crossed, right? You're always kind of just waiting. And yeah, you never know if you're doing six shows or 2 shows in a week. So it can be like a little bit difficult to like plan around. But as I'm getting more comfortable with the idea of just kind of popping out a show instead of like having to get to the theatre and like go through the show, which I used to have to do because it was so new to me, it's a lot easier to manage it now. But yeah, it is difficult. It is, for sure. Yeah.
Do you manage to have a social life? I mean, I guess it's just kind of like letting your friends know, I might just have to leave.
yeah, like, and they kind of get it, like, they do. It's like, I had a text and was like, oh, can you come to like my leaving party because I'm touring in China? And I was like, oh my God, I'll be there. And then this week I had to be like, I can't be there. I'm on Saturday.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And they get it. It's just part of the job, right?
Yeah. And having performer friends as well is helpful because put in the same position, they would do exactly the same thing.
No one's batting an eyelid.
Yeah. What do you do to wind down after show, or what do you do to prepare before a show?
So when I started, it was quite like intense because I was so new to me, and I just kind of had to figure out my routine. I always get to the theatre early anyway. We know this. So like I would get to the theatre quite early, and then I would warm up, like do all my like physical stuff as well. Then I would like go to the Dome, which is like our rehearsal space, where we do ballet bar, and I'd run through the show because I was so overwhelmed. I was like, oh my God, I've got so much information in my head. I need to make sure I actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'd run through the show, and then, and that would be it. And then I would, have a shower, do my makeup like everybody else, and come to like company warm up. Now, I just kind of show up. I warm up. I do all the same things. It's just it takes less time now, which is nice. I can spend more time at home. And I feel like I've slowly figuring it out.
Yeah, you've got yourself like a little routine going.
Yeah. But I did what I needed to do at that time. And now that I'm comfortable, I can like slowly reduce the time that I'm getting there and spending on certain things. Like now I don't have to do a half an hour warm up because I have the stamina. Whereas before, in my first month, I was like, oh, okay, she's gonna have to warm up. Now I can do like a 10-minute and be fine. So yeah.
Yeah. What's your commute like to?
Just a 40-minute train.
Oh, okay.
40-minute tube.
Yeah. Not too bad. Not too bad. So you did 380 shows on the UK and Ireland tour of Les Mis. That's a lot of shows.
As Cosette, yeah.
How many months?
14, I want to say.
14 months.
14 months on tour.
And that was your first time staying away from home for a solid amount of time?
No. It was my first time constantly moving about though.
Okay.
And that was hard. And we were quite lucky on Miz because ours was not weekly touring. Weekly touring, I just don't know how they do it. It's so hard. Like I'm struggling with like 3 and 4 weeks. But the one thing that touring taught me to pick comfort every time, right? Like it's so easy because you want to save money and cost of living. But if I'm carrying 2 suitcases, I'm just gonna have to pick comfort. I'm gonna have to get an Uber. Like that kind of thing. It really taught me just like over everything, having a nice place to stay and a comfortable journey to your next location will set you up better. Yeah. Like if you're in digs that you're not happy in and you've got to spend 4 weeks there, it's not a good time. It's not. Because you're not at home and you're doing a job, right? You're not just there like on holiday. So yeah, comfort. Whenever my friends are like, oh my God, what advice do you have about touring? Pay for good digs and pay for like a good seat on a train if you're going more than like 2 hours, because it does really affect your health, like your everything. It's just so important, I think. I didn't know at the time, but
now you do. If you ever tour again,
yes, I know.
You'll be staying in a 5-star hotel. No. Chauffeur driven.
Yeah, of course.
Do you have a favourite venue that you performed at?
Plymouth. I loved Plymouth. Partly because it felt like a holiday, and also just all the staff was so nice. Like it was just like the nicest venue. Like in terms of staff, in terms of like where we were, it was hot. Like my digs were so lovely with like looking over the marina. I loved Plymouth. Yeah, it was so nice.
Really nice location.
Yeah, really nice. But my favourite venue, in terms of like, was probably Dublin.
Okay.
Because it was just really nice, and the dressing rooms were like really lush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it a big theatre?
Yeah.
I've never been.
Yeah, it was massive.
Yeah. Do you know how many seats?
Don't test me.
It's okay. I don't know. How do you find the comparison between touring and being in your hometown, knowing where you're going to go in your bed?
Yeah. I love being at home. I do actually miss touring. I don't. When I was on tour, I was like, I just want to be at home. I really miss it. And I don't think it would necessarily be my first choice. However, I would tour again. it's nice being in your own home. It's nice to be able to come home from work and to decompress. And when you're in somebody's digs or you're in an Airbnb that's not quite yours, and it doesn't have everything that you need, it's sometimes hard to do that.
Yeah.
And when you're with your show family, the same people, 24 hours a day, every day, it sometimes feels a little bit like you're always in work mode. So it's nice to be able to know that's home, that's work, and be able to separate them out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think from an outside point of view, from an audience point of view, sometimes it's easy to forget that it is work. It is a full-time job for you, because we come and see you. I mean, some people come and see you every single day.
Right.
But like most people will come and see you once or twice and they'll be like, wow, that must be such a cool job. But actually, I mean, it is a cool job.
Oh, it's so cool, but it's also a job.
Yeah.
And I think it's really, and I think the conversation about that has also just started to change anyway, because there was this whole thing about like, we should be grateful, and of course we should. However, it is a job, and it's a very mentally, physically, vocally, emotionally demanding job. And it comes with a lot of things that maybe people don't know. And so I do think it is important that we do start reframing how we're seeing performers, because it's a job. And some days, you know, we're not feeling great and we still have to do our job, right? And you can still be grateful and not feel good, right? You can still be grateful and still be able to and, you know, not have a good day and be able to say that and live in those spaces. Because if you're at an office job and you didn't feel good, you could say that, right? And it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
And I mean, you have to literally go and live someone else's very stressful life in front of thousands of people.
And this is the thing also, like, people also forget, like, your body doesn't know the difference between real and not real, right? So when I'm going on as Christine and I'm being chucked on the floor and I'm being screamed at by a phantom in the final lair, my body doesn't know that that's not real. So there's a lot that comes with that, and that's also part of my routine. Like, my physio said it's really important to have a cold shower after the show, just so that you're like, that's me separated out of that, and so I can move on and live with and be Paige. Because it's a lot, and your body stores emotional memory. And for me, I just have to give everything. I can't like do anything in halves. So if the phantom is screaming at me, he's screaming at me, and I'm gonna feel that, because that's what Christine, or that's my Christine, would feel that, right? So yeah, it's a hard job, and I think we need to start calling it a job and being okay with the fact that, you know, that is what it is. It's a sick job, but it's a job.
It is,
and I'm grateful to have it and to be able to do it. Doesn't make it less hard. You know?
No, that's I've never thought about a cold shower after a show before, but that's a really good idea. It's just like a reset.
It's just said it's a reset, because I was like, I feel like I'm carrying things from the show and not being able to get to sleep. And she was like, cold shower, reset. And no,
that's really cool.
It's not, like, I mean, it's not ideal. Like, I don't really want to have a cold shower,
but it does reset you. That's cool. I follow you on Instagram, and I saw that on your Instagram you did like a little Q&A. And your dream role / dream musical is in Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812.
It is indeed.
That's like a crazy specific one. I didn't know much about it, so I did a little research. It's quoted by the New York Times as the most innovative and best new musical since Hamilton.
I agree. Give it its flowers, please.
Yeah, that is a big statement. And it's the New York Times. So
I want it to come to London so much. I've been like following the composer's work, Dave Malloy. He did Preludes here at the Southwark Playhouse, and then he did Ghost Quartet at it was this new thing. It was new at the time. I can't remember where it was. And I think he's so incredible. Please, Dave Malloy, if you are listening to this, hire me, please. I'm here. It's my dream. It's my dream show. It's my dream role. Partly because it was the first role that I felt like I would just fit in. Like, I didn't have to do anything, if that makes sense.
And for people like myself that don't know, so it's an adaptation from Volume 2 of Tolstoy's classic novel War and Peace.
Yes.
Do you know the story? Do you know?
Yeah,
can
so
you give
basically
an overview?
it's a 70-page excerpt of that, and it's just basically about Natasha and Pierre and how their lives interact. And basically Natasha makes a few mistakes along the way and falls in love with maybe the wrong guy.
Classic.
And then, spoiler, poisons herself. Get to know.
Spoiler.
There's a lot going on, do you know what I mean? I just liked her arc. I really enjoyed that she started. And it's kind of like Christine. I mean, Christine doesn't poison herself, but she starts as this like naive girl. And through her experiences with a guy, it's always guys, always boys, experience with a guy, like, grows into her womanhood after making a few mistakes.
Cool.
Yeah.
That sounds very interesting.
Very
Hopefully it comes here, and hopefully we'll see you in it.
I wish.
Yeah. We have a game which has been conceptualized by our awesome producer, Elle, and it's called Would I Improvise to You? It's a cross between Would I Lie to You and Two Truths, One Lie. So I've got 3 facts here and about you, and only 2 of them are true. One's a lie. Obviously, you're going to know which ones are true. However, there's a lie that you also haven't heard before. So it's down to me to ask you questions to try and decipher which 2 are facts and which one is the lie.
I don't have a poker face.
And it's down to you to try and keep a poker face and convince me that all 3 are true.
I will try my very best.
Okay. I'm going to just read them out.
Yeah.
All 3. And then once I've read them, I'm going to ask you some questions to try and figure out which one is true. So I think this is going to be really fun. So fact 1, when Paige was in Les Mis, the conductor fainted during In My Life and they had to have a show stop. Fact 2, when Paige was training, she was dropped mid-lift and had to go to A&E. And fact 3, once in Phantom, the string on the white dress gown ripped off during the dressing room scene. Paige had to hold the dressing gown closed until after she'd gone through the mirror. Okay, those are 3 pretty good facts. So number 1, when Paige was in Les Mis, the conductor fainted during In My Life and they had to have a show stop. That sounds incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
Did you notice?
So, I was singing In My Life with the Valjean and I wasn't looking at the screen. I was looking at the conductor. And it's not funny at all. All I heard was like a thump, and I just looked at the Valjean, but the orchestra kept playing. So we were just singing along, and then like someone in the wings was like, stop. And we just walked off. It was not ideal, and we were very, very worried. And also, when things like that happen, it's scary because you don't have any control over it. So yeah,
that sounds stressful. When you were in training, you were dropped mid-lift and had to go to A&E. It sounds painful. Why did you have to go to A&E?
Because I hit my head on the floor.
You hit your head?
Yeah, I hit my head on the floor. I was dropped in like a Dirty Dancing lift.
That's rough.
And they dropped me and I hit my head on the floor.
That's major. I'm sorry that happened. Okay, fact 3.
Yes.
Once in Phantom, the string on the white dress gown ripped off during the dressing room scene. Paige had to hold the dressing gown closed until after she'd gone through the mirror.
Yeah.
How long between going through the mirror and the dress breaking?
What was there?
Yeah, I can't picture how long that is.
So you've got 2 roughly short songs, 40 minutes, 45 seconds, roughly. It does feel like a long time. Like, and also that negligee will be the bane of my life. It causes me so many issues. I love it. You
love it.
However, it's not my favorite piece of costume, shall I say? So, and it was also I'm kind of not decent underneath it, so it's just like.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, you have to hold it.
And are you singing?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds stressful. It's specific, but it could be an oddly specific one to try and throw me off. The conductor fainting is... I've never heard of that happening before, and I can't imagine. This is really tricky. Let me try and ask you another question.
No more questions.
No more questions. Otherwise, I'm never going to know. Can you remember were you just doing dance lifts to just train lifts, or
No,
was it a specific one?
jazz lifts.
Okay.
Cringe jazz lifts.
Oh.
At Brit.
At Brit?
Yeah.
Oh, to be fair, we weren't in the same dance class.
No. It was an extracurricular. I don't know if you did it.
Oh, no. I didn't do any extracurricular. I should have done. I'm getting the vibe that fact 2 is the lie. Because I just can't imagine a conductor fainting. What are you doing that you're fainting? Maybe you're just having an off day. And I feel like you would have told me about that, but it was a locked door, so. And I'm string off the white. I mean, costume malfunctions happen all the time, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if that just happened and you just dealt with it like a champ. So my gut is telling me fact 2 is not fact 2. Fact 2 is lie 1.
What was fact 2?
That's the one about you getting dropped mid-lift.
Okay. Do I show self?
You reveal if that's correct.
So you're wrong. I was dropped in a lift, and I feel like you were at Brit when it happened, or maybe you weren't. Maybe
Don't
it was.
Say that. That made me feel bad.
I feel like you were definitely there.
Okay.
And the conductor did faint during the show. The lie was like a lie, but it was like very specific, because my negligee in that scene always messes up, but the string is never broken when. I've never had to be like, because there's Velcro on it, so it would never just hang. I wouldn't have to hold it. Yeah. Good
job.
I mean, it's all Ella.
Yeah.
I just came up with the facts.
No, that was you got me. I can't believe I don't remember you getting dropped on your head.
I don't know if you were there. On my head.
And you actually had to go to A&E? From Brit?
Yes.
They called an ambulance?
Yes.
Wow, that is stressful.
Maybe you weren't there. Maybe it was before post 16.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because I remember it was with a theatre guy.
Of course.
Yeah.
Not a
He's
dancer.
lovely though. I love him. Sam. Love you.
Shout out Sam.
He felt so bad at the time. I was like, no, it's fine. I was a bit scared afterwards.
I would have been crying if that was me and I dropped
like,
someone. Going to A&E.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you're better now, so that's good.
Yeah, just about.
Well, that was a wicked game. Thank you. You did really well.
Thank you.
That brings us to the end.
Ooh.
So thank you so much. This has been a really interesting discussion. We do actually have a gift for you coming on. Just as a little thank you. So thank you, Ollie, my camera guy. So here you go. Here's your little gift.
Should I wait and open it later or show you?
No, open it now, please. And then I will explain once you've opened it.
Ooh. Look at you all fancy with your stickers.
Yeah, you know.
I love it.
It's really cute, right?
Oh my God, I love it.
So my very good friend Ellie has an Etsy shop called the Yorkshire Knitter, like on the tag. And she does commissions for crochets and knitting. And so we got you one in your little...
Oh, you are so sweet. In my wedding dress. Yeah. And it's got a little bustle. Yeah. That's so cute.
She does it. Her attention to detail is crazy.
Oh, I love it. It's going to go... Because I have one of these, similar, that's like in my... in one of my other costumes, so it's going to go right next to it. Oh, I'm going to be so happy.
Yeah.
Yay.
So shout out to Ellie, the Yorkshire Knitter. Make sure
Ellie.
You follow her on Instagram. I will put her Instagram in the description.
That's so sweet. Oh.
But, yeah.
Sorry.
No,
excited.
It's good. Yeah, it's so cute and we love it.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure chatting to you. And yeah, that's us. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
No, that's okay.
Fantastic. Oh, you've made my day.
Awesome.
Cool.
There we go.
Yay.
We're done. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the very first episode of Into the Wings. It's been awesome having a chat with Paige, and we've got many more to come. We've got 7 episodes now weekly coming out, and also going to have some behind the scenes, sneak peeks, bloopers, all that good stuff. So keep an eye on our socials for when the episodes are released and any behind the scenes clips.